Hello, and welcome to the first stream on this channel. And so, in today's stream, I wanted to just go and work on a little bit of family tree chart making. And so, I'm going to be going and continuing to make my chart right here that I started on quite recently. And so, let's go do that. So, right here, I made one branch of this family tree. Basically, this family tree is all about different kinds of primogeniture in the English monarchy. I'll be creating a video about this very soon, but I'll just be working on this and talking with you guys right now. So, we're going to start with Wikipedia because I already made one branch of this, which is with the absolute primogeniture. But I want to find another kind of primogeniture that's really going to fit with this. And so I'm going to be going and looking over here, find some kind of primogeniture I like. So right here is absolute primogeniture that I use. This is kind of the modern day type of inheritance in monarchies, but I want to find another kind. Now, there's a couple of these right here on Wikipedia. So there's agnatic primogeniture, and male preference primogeniture. And I'm going to read up a little bit about these. So, okay, it looks like in agnatic primogeniture, the degree of kinship is determined by tracing shared descent from the nearest common ancestor for male ancestors. And so, then male preference, and so that one, it looks like, was practiced in England already. That's what they were using until I switched just quite recently to the absolute primogeniture. So I'm not going to use that. The one that sounded interesting to me, I was looking at this earlier, is actually, see if I can find it. Yeah, order of succession, I think it was on this page. It was all about ultimogeniture, which is an order of succession where a subject is succeeded by the youngest son or youngest child. And so I thought that sounded pretty interesting. So I think I'm going to actually do this right now and actually pick this as my thing. So let's go. So right now we're going to go to the family tree chart. So right here, as you can see, it starts with William the Conqueror, and it would start anyway like that because obviously he invaded England. But then I need to go and find the youngest child of him, and then it traces through them. So I'll just go and search up William right here. So yeah, so okay, now we look at family and children. Okay. So looks like, and it has to be surviving too by 1087. So it looks like Adela of Normandy was the youngest. And so I think we'd go for Adela. Yeah, I'd go for Adela. So we're gonna add her to the tree. So right here, I'm using LibreOffice Draw, which is a great platform for making these charts. I know that Useful Charts, who is another YouTuber who you guys should definitely check out, uses this as well as, or I think used to. I think they recently switched over to a more sophisticated one. But I got this software a while back, and I thought, Well, it looks pretty good on his videos, so why not use it for mine? So, um, relatively simple process of creating this, and actually I just realized, I think I already had Adela in my family tree, so it's a little embarrassing. Is she really the youngest? Oh, and yeah, she's not the youngest. I would actually go to Henry, who became king, Henry the First. Yeah, so it'd actually go for Henry the First. I'm sorry, made a mistake on that. So, all right, so let's go right here. So I'm gonna add Henry. I just use a simple copy and paste method. Um, okay, so we're gonna add Henry 1 right here. And also note that when we're going to be actually adding monarchs who weren't actually technically a monarch in England, when we're going to be making up ones like that, we're going to have to go under different names. So right here, as you can see, I put William II because that was Adela's oldest son, even though the actual William II was a completely different person, his uncle, in fact. So I'm gonna have to make up titles and also make up their reigns. So and probably just keep those reign lengths because some of them actually died young, like getting murdered, or in some cases childbirth or things like that. But anyways, so okay, now we're gonna get a picture of Henry. So just go save this image right here. Okay, I love these old drawings that from the medieval times. They always look really cool. And let's go to downloads. Okay, Henry. There we go. And whoa, he's big. So we'll just size this down. Okay, and where the heck did it go? So looks like okay, it's all the way up here. So I can just move this down. So how is everyone is watching this stream doing? Is there hope everyone's doing well during this time, and so we'll just crop it down to his face, and okay, and then we can go and size it up to the 0.5 that I want. Perfect. Okay, and then we can just put that smack dab right here, and cool. So now we got Henry the First right here. Okay, and then we gotta find his youngest son, so gotta look at his issue or children. So okay, so it looks like he had a lot of illegitimate ones, and I don't think we're gonna count those. I didn't count those for the other branch of this tree, because I mean, obviously they're not fully legitimate, and in actual monarchies they don't really become. So now, okay, so what children did he have? So he had 2 surviving children, and it looks like those were William Adelin and Empress Matilda, who I have heard of because she was actually, I believe, a disputed monarch. So, I'm gonna go and see if the youngest surviving one out of those two. So, looks like 1103, and when was Matilda born? She was born 1102. Okay, so William's the younger one, and if I remember correctly, William actually got died in a shipwreck. Yeah, he died in 1120. So, and he was 17, so he hopefully didn't have any surviving heirs. And so I guess we'll have to pass this on to his only sister, Matilda, so she'd inherit the throne, I guess. So I guess we pass it on to Matilda. So we'll continue this part of the tree. And cool. So we'll go and add Matilda to here. And we'll just continue it down till we find living heir to the British throne if it followed ultimogeniture. I don't know. I just thought this one would be the most interesting because it's totally sounds kind of monarchies. From what I can tell, most monarchies did not use ultimogeniture at all. In fact, I was researching it and I couldn't even find any examples of any monarchies that used it. Okay, so I'll shrink it down and put it to this size. Okay, cool. So now we got Matilda right here. So another unsuccessful claimant to the throne. Technically, she was Queen of England in the middle, I believe, Stephen's reign, I want to say, because Henry I died without really a male heir, and back then they obviously preferred males to take over the throne, and so then his nephew Stephen from Adela, actually over here, took over the throne, and I believe in the middle of his reign is actually yeah. So now we're gonna go and move on from Matilda. So okay, now we gotta find her youngest surviving child. So okay, children and okay, so alright, so here's her children. And her eldest, I think, if this is in order, is Henry II. And then Geoffrey was the second born, and then William Fitz Empress was the youngest. But he was dead, so we have to pick his youngest child. Okay. Did he have any children? Looks like he had no child. And so he had no children, so I guess it would move to his brother Geoffrey, and then he's also dead. And did he have any children? Nope, doesn't look like it. So then it passes to, I guess, their youngest son, Henry II, which is pretty funny because it's actually passing through some actual monarchs still, even though they're the youngest child, which I find interesting. So, okay, we'll extend out from Matilda and go to Henry II. Okay, so Henry II, right here, and 1167 to 1189. Sweet. So now we'll get a picture of him right here. Okay. That's not the greatest picture. Okay. That's his eldest son. Whoops. Whoa. So we can take this picture. I'll take this picture and just crop it out to him. Okay. So we'll go and insert an image. And whoops. There we go. Henry 2. Wow, that is big. Okay, so let's just size it down. Okay, all the way up here. There it is. Okay, just crop it down to be just him. Crop it down a little more. I'd say so. Okay. There we go. Okay, so if you ever want to try making one of these charts, which I strongly encourage you to do, you should definitely get LibreOffice. My next video, I guess, when I'm covering this, I could actually put a link to download LibreOffice if you guys are interested in making this kind of stuff. It's completely free, and it's a great office suite of different software. So, okay, now we got Henry 2. Okay, and then gotta find his youngest child. So, let's go back to Henry 2. So, wow, he had a lot of children. Whoops. Okay, so it looks like he was an illegitimate son. Okay, so he doesn't count. Okay, so he's illegitimate. Okay, so then we get King John of all people. Oh, great. Good old King John. So it might actually pass through. So he's the youngest of 4 surviving sons, and wow. Okay, this is surprising because it's actually passing through multiple monarchs who actually became king, which I think is quite interesting. So, in some ways, you could consider the English monarchy in its infancy a ultimogenetric, I don't know the term, monarchy, which is quite interesting. So, yeah, so I guess John would inherit it in 1189 and rule till 1216. Not sure how that would be possible, though, saying how hated he was. Okay, so let's get this image. Okay, so we got the image of him. Okay, so we'll go and add John right now. Jan Tomb. So, okay. We can just crop it down from here. It's big enough. Okay. So, let's get him. So, I also wanted to give a big thank you to anyone who's watching. If you're subscribed to this channel, it really means a lot. We just hit 30 subs a little while ago, and that's also, in a sense, a little bit of a milestone. It's quite a few people. I mean, if you think about it, the number of subscribers I have is almost as many monarchs of England. So, I mean, if all these monarchs over here subscribe to me, well, that'd be great. Actually, that might not be great. A lot of them seem kind of mean, but, But if they did subscribe to me, they'd only have a little bit more than you guys have for me. I don't know what that rant was all about. Point is, yeah, so, okay, so now we have to find his youngest child. So, Joan, Lady of Wales. So, okay. Alright. There's no evidence that her mother was of royal blood. And, okay. Oh, she's illegitimate, okay. So she doesn't count. Joan doesn't count. Let's see. Where's John? Oh, it doesn't show his kids. Okay. So, okay, besides Joan, Richard Fitzroy was also illegitimate. Great. Eleanor was the youngest child. Okay. So, she was the youngest. So, okay. Alright, so Eleanor is Eleanor was the queen, I guess. So she died in 1275. Okay, perfect. So she's still alive at this point. So passes through to her. We've managed to actually bring up quite a nice little line of succession right here. And so do that. Okay, so let's go add Eleanor right here. So we got Eleanor rolling from 1216 all the way up to 1275. All right. Okay, let's get an image of her right here. Save this image. Okay, perfect. And then we'll go and add and Eleanor Pembroke. Okay. So we'll crop this down to be that size. Okay, perfect. Okay. Let's just change her size to what we want. That's kind of funny when these faces are all squished and deformed. When you try doing that, okay. Okay. Let's adjust this right here, and perfect. So, Eleanor's in there. This line's getting a little close to this one, so I think I'll just select this whole thing and move it over a little bit more, like so. Right there. Okay, perfect. Okay, and we can just extend this line out to 5. 5 would do the trick, yep. Okay. Alright. Mustn't forget to save this. So, okay, so we have Eleanor. Okay. And so it looks like she met. Okay, first I want to confirm that she is indeed the youngest child. Okay, wait, it does say that on her Wikipedia page, I think, though. So, yeah, she's the youngest child of him and Angoulême. Did he have any other wives? Okay, yeah, she was, so she is basically the youngest child, period. So, it looks like her youngest daughter was Eleanor de Montfort. And, okay, so, I guess we have an Eleanor II coming up. Alright. So, let's add Eleanor II. okay, so we got Eleanor in here. We'll add her right here. Okay. So we got Eleanor the second. And at this point, 1282. Okay, that's when she died. So she'd rule until 1282 from 1275. Okay, perfect. So we can do that. Okay, so here's a picture of her. We'll save that. And let's see if there's anyone viewing right now. We got 2 viewers right now. How you guys all doing? So okay. Hope you guys are doing well. I certainly am right now, managing to sit through this, and I don't know, this being in quarantine is actually been kind of good for me, at least with my creative aspect, because during this quarantine, I feel I've been getting a lot more into this chart making thing, and a lot more into video making, which I think is a good thing, because I've been more motivated to make the videos, and obviously now that really nothing to do but sit around the house, I have more time to make the videos, whereas when we weren't in shelter in place or quarantine or whatever you want to call it, I really didn't have too much time to make videos. I would spend maybe up until 12, maybe not 12, but up until I went to bed making some of these videos, because they just took a lot of editing power, and didn't have enough time during the day. So I'm glad I get a little bit of freedom to kind of do what I want right now. So, okay. So it passes from Eleanor on to... Okay, so it looks like she died giving birth to Gwenllian, which automatically makes her... Okay, it's a she. Okay. Automatically makes her the youngest one of that there is. So... Okay, so it looks like Gwenllian is the youngest. So we'll put her in here. Right there. And we'll go and add her. I specifically remember this branch, actually, from my very first video on this channel, the all of King John's descendants. I thought about making a part 2 to that, but I mean, that took a long time to make that family tree, and I feel like no one really wanted to watch 20 minutes of me rambling on about a bunch of obscure people like that. So I decided not to really make a part 2 to that. I know in that video I did say that I'd be willing to make a part 2 of the other presidents, but I mean, wasn't really feeling it. Okay, so, alright, let's read up about Gwenllian. So, it looks like they were all confined, and she died in 1337. So, it looks like she didn't have any children, because she got imprisoned by that, Welsh hating Edward I, and so the line, I guess, died out there, so we're gonna have to go back and see if Eleanor had any other siblings, and we'll have to pick out the second youngest of those, because I don't think, did She didn't have any other kids, did she? Yeah, it doesn't look like she had any kids. So, okay, so we're gonna go back, I guess, to Eleanor of England and see who were the second youngest. So far we actually haven't had to pull out a Google. Where I'm gonna use that for is ones that don't have a Wikipedia page. And speak of the devil, this person doesn't. So Richard de Montfort. So I guess I'm gonna go and enable this Google thing. So I'll go over here and search up. Okay, I'll search up Richard de Montfort. So, okay, wrong Richard de Montfort. Okay, this is the right guy. Yeah, this is the right guy. Okay, let's go to his Genie profile. That's always a good website to use. Okay, so alright, I just realized that I'm not actually showing that one on here. Why am I not? Huh. Okay. Well, I guess I can't really show what I'm doing right here with my research, but okay, so I got. So he died in 1281. Did he have any children? Yes, he did. So he had William de Montfort and Isabel de Montfort. So the only red flag for these, by the way, which means I actually have to go to a different branch, is if, for example, one of these people doesn't have any kind of dates whatsoever attached to them, which means it's going to be very hard to really figure out certain things. I mean, I'll still add them to the tree, but if I lose a bunch of dates, I'm not going to be able to figure that so easily. So it looks like William de Montfort would be the next oldest son of him. So he would be the youngest, and yeah, he'd be the youngest. So he died in 1330. Okay, so we can add his name to the tree. So, okay, what we're going to have to do now, actually, is first of all, probably move this entire branch of the tree over just a tad so I can make some space, because there's going to actually be some siblings in here involved. So, right there. That's enough space, I think. Alright, we'll just make that 5.5, 5.75, there we go. Okay, so Gwenllian, okay. So we're gonna go and change this. So we'll make this slightly shorter. So she was the youngest sibling, so actually, whoops. Okay, well, gotta select both her and Gwenllian, or Gwenllian, or I don't know. Any of you Welsh people could let me know how to pronounce that. Would be appreciated. Okay, so I'll put that there for now, and then I'll just borrow one of these crossbar thingies and use that. So okay, so we got
from hers multiple siblings. That'll be Eleanor and, okay. We'll move this over a little bit more. Okay. I'm really kind of a stickler with these exact measurements because I want it to look nice and neat. That's why a lot of these take a long time. Because if I was just going willy-nilly and putting these anywhere, first of all, it looked kind of messy, and second of all, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist in this sense, it would just not fit for me and not look right. So there's been, I know on this one, there was a part where, whoops, I just forgot to even copy this, so made a mistake there. But there's been parts where I've had multiple siblings, but only one of them has a picture, and so I spent maybe around half an hour just trying to get the nice orientation of those specific ones. So, okay, so we got Eleanor right here, and then we add her brother over here. Hopefully this line should continue down for a while. So, her brother, Richard de Montfort. Actually, no, I just realized. Yeah. So what I'm doing for this is a little bit of a fun technique. Actually, not fun. It's a little just bit of a trick technique. So I'm actually changing the color of this box right here and making it the same color as the background, getting rid of this line. And so it just looks like there's plain text right here, even though it's nice and organized and spaced correctly, because I'm kind of bad in that sense with doing that. So, and then in terms when we have a deceased person, we just put their full title, not just their not their monarchical name, like all these other ones. So we got Richard de Montfort, and so now, okay, so Richard, okay, I'm getting myself confused. So Richard, and then we put their lifespan in there. So Richard, I'll just use the Wikipedia reference. So he was born 1252 and died in 1281. One thing that really kind of annoys me, and I mean, this might be biased because I am a Wikipedia user. In fact, I actually got an article published, fun fact, about some obscure Jewish rabbi who is my direct sixth great grandfather. But that's we're going to sidetrack. But one thing that annoys me is whenever I've done any kind of research or anything, people always say, "Oh, Wikipedia is not really that trustworthy. You can't use it for much because anyone can add it." Well, I mean, I get it if you're per se in school and you have to do some report on a historical person, and you might not want to use Wikipedia for that, because I agree, because obviously it's a community edited thing. Anyone can edit it if they just have a Wikipedia account. But I feel like just to get like basic information down, like I'm doing right here, if you want to get dates, if you want to get at least a bit of a simple history, this is a great place to go. They have it everywhere here. And then obviously down here, there's all the different sources right here, and then you can click on these. In this case, it's mostly just books, but in a lot of articles, they have certain websites that you can visit, and those are great sources. Just because this is irking me, I know that if a monarch only appears once, and I'm pretty sure there's probably not going to be any more Gwenlyans, then you obviously don't number it. If you know anything really about monarchies, you know that. But I'm a stickler, so this looks better with the one next to it. So, okay, so I think we go to William the, oops, actually no, we don't put his, okay, so William the Third, which is weird to see because obviously the real William the Third, that Dutch guy who took England over in the Glorious Revolution, was about 650 years later than this, a while later. So, and I just realized that he died before Gwenllian died, so I'm going to actually make this the same as his dad. With a little trick. And I guess his youngest son would then inherit the throne. I'm guessing, unless they died. Which would really mean we're toast. So, William de Montfort. Okay. And he lived from, okay. William de Montfort, he lived from, when was he born? 1276. And then other people might talk about Jeannie as being unreliable, and I would agree with that. But it's one of the few great genealogy sources where you can find a million different profiles and see how they're all connected really well into one giant world family tree, compared to, per se, like Ancestry, where only the people who actually are members of that family tree can really edit stuff. But I don't know. A lot of genealogy websites have pretty unreliable information. There's been a million times where I've been researching my family on Ancestry. That for one is one of the least accurate ones, because Ancestry is kind of that one that anyone who's really starting out in genealogy has heard of. Like, you can mention that you're a genealogist and they'd be like, oh, you like 23andMe and Ancestry. Those are kind of the two staples of genealogy that everyone knows about. But I don't know, a lot of the time it's really inaccurate. I've seen a lot of people who have similar profiles, because you obviously have the profile matches, and their dates are completely wrong. I've seen ones where literally their children were born after their death, after the death of their parents or something like that, or 100 years, when they were 100 years old. It's like, what logic do you have that says that women can be fertile and actually have children at the age of 100? I mean, that's biologically impossible, and yet you have that on your family tree. And other people, when they see that profile, they might fall for that same trick, and it kind of triggers a whole domino effect of people and that same profile. And there's been many situations where I've been really the one who kind of has the correct information, but no one even cares about my tree, and they all look at other ones. Maybe this is just me ranting about that, but I don't know. A lot of it's inaccurate. So I would say that before you ever confirm some of these profile matches on a website like Ancestry, for example, that you want to actually go and try to confirm a lot of that stuff, because there's been many times where I found a reason why they put certain dates there, and it's because there's another person who happened to have the same name or something like that, or they just assume wrong, and that ends up with a lot of very inaccurate information. So, alright, rant over. We can finally actually go to a person who become the monarch. Problem is, it's on Jeannie, and it's a little difficult because they don't actually have a death date, and I can't actually confirm if they're the youngest sibling. They're just the youngest one with a date, because she has two sisters. Her name's Margaret de Montfort. She has two sisters, one of them does have a date that's older than her, and another one doesn't even have any dates on her profile at all. And so I'm stuck because, there's a chance that she could have died when she was 3 years old, or she could have survived, or she could have not have even been the youngest child. I'm not really sure, but I'll add her, and I guess it will be unclear who inherits when the next person inherits the throne. Probably one of her siblings, if she died without siblings. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a pickle we're in. So, I'll just say 1332 question mark, because I have absolutely no clue when she really reigned. And it looks like if I'm going to be adding another sibling, then I'm going to have to go and select this whole branch of the family tree once more, and move it back even more. So we'll move it to right there. Maybe this line is a little too big. We'll adjust that accordingly, but still want some space, because a lot of cases, if you look right here at that little diagram of the other part of the family tree, because most family trees end up actually being diagonal like that, especially if there's many siblings who it's inherited from. Because if you're just doing something like this with no spouses or anything like that, then it ends up going diagonal. And if you don't really include all the different siblings and cousins of everyone and only include the ones that are important, it just ends up going like this, or it will just go and end up going in a straight line like we have right here from Henry to Eleanor. But Margaret the First, I guess, inherits that. We're going to actually make this a little less wide, or thinner. Actually, no, that wouldn't make sense. Okay, I'm blanking on the vocabulary. Whatever. So, okay. Move Eleanor right there. And Richard. Good old Dickie de Montfort, right there. And so, we can go and, I guess, continue to her sibling. Now, I have no clue, because like I said, she has two siblings. Only one of them actually has a death date and everything. Her other sister, Helen, doesn't even have any dates at all on her profile, so I think, controversially, you could say I'll skip over her in favor, actually, of the other sister, because no dates on her. I don't know if she died when she was little or she was dead by the time Margaret was there. And she also didn't have any children. She didn't have a married name or anything like that. So I'll put Margaret right here, and then we'll continue, I guess, to her sister, Rose. She's the only one it looks like who actually had a marriage. So, obviously, like I said, some of this genealogical information could be missing from it. There might not be. Most likely these other two married, but I just cannot find any record of them. So, yeah. So we'll just continue like this. This is always one of the most annoying parts when I do a tree like this, because I also did this for the other part of this tree, and it was annoying during this part where I had a bunch of random people who I'd never even heard of before, and who weren't really considered royalty. I mean, they were part of, in this case, they're part of the de Montfort house, which I know is actually kind of a famous house in Europe, but there's basically no information on there. So, okay. So, okay, I guess it passes to her sister Rose, so she'd be Rose the First, and I guess she'd reign from question mark all the way up to her death in 1362. And, because we don't know when she died, Margaret could have died after 1362, but as it stands right now, we'll just keep it as her sister inheriting the throne, and then it passes for her. Luckily, she actually did have descendants, so it passes to her daughter Eleanor, or some weird spelling. Let me see that again. Alienor, I think, but we'll just call it Eleanor for consistency's sake. Because in this case, with this other tree, it actually passed for a couple French ones where they had French names, and I had to change them. Like, for example, there's a Philippe, like Philippe, like that, and there's a Philippe, like that, and I just changed it to Philip, because that's kind of the one everyone's familiar with. Okay, so, looks like this line continues down for a little bit, which is a good thing. Okay, one thing I do want to check is if some of these people are on Wikipedia, because that could make it a heck of a lot easier. And showing results for Albacore Dervas. What is a Dervasa? Anyways, I have no clue how it got that from Alienor Albacore, like the fish. Anyways, so looks like she doesn't appear, but what about her husband, John Holt of Yardley? John Holt of Yardley. Okay, Yardley, Pennsylvania. That's not what we're looking for. Nope. Okay. Yeah, so he's not in there. So we'll just rely on Janie for a little longer. So, okay, and then from Eleanor, she had 2 kids, Walter and Catherine. Okay, Walter was born in 1352, Catherine in 1354, and she has a death date perfect. Okay, so it moves for her. And that's a little bit disappointing, because we're going to probably have to move over this tree once again. I didn't think this would have to happen. I mean, my God, how far separated am I already? I mean, this is a huge page, by the way. This goes down to, I believe, 40 inches, which is crazy. So that means if you actually print this out and make a physical copy of this, this will be, let me do the math. This would be over 3 feet tall, which is crazy. This is a huge chart. I mean, that's crazy to think, because all of these little things are 1 inch by half an inch. I think so. And yet, I have to extend it down for 30 generations, so I need giant-sized paper. Thank God that in LibreOffice you have the ability to actually customize how big you want the paper. Sadly, I only found out about that very recently, because I had a couple ones, like most recently the East African one, is the actual default size of it was too big. The default size that I wanted to include all the different monarchs from all those different periods in East Africa, but I didn't realize that you could just customize the size of it like that, and yeah, so that was a little bit relieving and a little annoying to find out, because I totally made a silly excuse on that one that I just didn't want to actually have all the different monarchs because it'd be too much. It took too much time, I believe that's what I said. And I think we actually need to move this out even more, my goodness. Okay. Just going to take a giant select. I mean, this select thing might be almost a foot long. It's pretty crazy. I'll give myself quite a bit of space right. Whoops. Try selecting again. Alright, let's just put it right here. Perfect. It gives us enough space so if she does have another case, if there is another case for her siblings, can extend this out. This line, by the way, is almost, yeah, it's 8 inches long, which is pretty crazy. It's a pretty crazy long line, just so we can extend to this one sibling, Henry I. Okay. And also, another thing to note is that I'm going to probably do a second part to the stream in the next couple of days, and then I'll probably have a finished video covering both of these lines in a little while. I'm planning to make another video tomorrow, obviously, because it's been 4 days, well, 3 days by this point, but 4 days tomorrow since my last video, so planning to make a video tomorrow about something. I actually haven't decided yet. It's going to probably be a quick video. Okay. So, I guess from Catherine Holt, it goes down to Agnes Tansley. And it looks like her daughter was a lady, so Lady Cecilia Agnes Winslow. And yeah, that verse doesn't make sense at all. Speak of the devil with bad dating. Apparently, she was born in 1460, exactly, well, not exactly, but 22 years after her mother's death, which I don't know how that's possible. Okay. There's got to be some kind of mess up right there. Maybe it was... Actually, no, that'd be messed up, too, if she had her at 6 years old. If it was actually 1360. I'm confused. So, I'm going to ignore Tansley, because that makes absolutely no sense that she would have been born in 1460. Another good thing to do is, I guess, click on that profile and really see if there's any matches, because on MyHeritage I know is probably also going to be family tree for this. Okay, so it is on this Agnes Tansley born De La Sprine, and all of them have it at 1460. I mean, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do in this situation because it's a little distressing. It's a little distressing where this is going. So I think this is a difficult decision. Doesn't seem like it would be, but okay. I'm gonna see if there's a Guy de la Spine. I'm gonna see if there's anything on De La Spine. No, it's just all about literal person spine. Okay, so I think we made good progress today, but I think I'm gonna actually be wrapping up the stream probably right now. I'll try to figure this out and in time for next stream in a little while. But I'll talk to you guys all later, and see you guys all later. Hope you like watching this first stream they're doing. So, goodbye. Hasta la vista, baby.